Would you be down to get ball gagged? I don't know. Would you want to be pissed on?
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Greetings, everybody. This is Mike from the Daily Bread podcast, which is now a weekly thing, or it has been for a while. I was actually thinking of calling it last night the Weekly Bread, but I don't know if that would be stupid or not, but maybe I'll start doing that. And that sound in the background is my dinner being cooked. So let me turn that off right there. Okay, cool. Today I'm going to talk about really briefly the mini vacation I just had, where last week's episode was about going on vacation, and today is the Monday. I think it was like a week to the day after I recorded that episode, and I was heading to the beach. I know it's like a week ago, and I forget what the hell I talked about or what I had talked about. But yeah, so last week I went on vacation for the first time in like 2 years, and I went down to Wilmington. And prior to that, I'd say 2 years ago, my old band Lane Meyer played a show, and that was technically a vacation because I got out of Raleigh, and I don't think I've left this city in like 2 years and gone anywhere. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of flying. I wouldn't say that I won't fly. I just choose if I don't have to. I'm just like don't, but I will get on a plane. But nowadays with all of the vid going around, it doesn't really seem like the coolest idea. But yeah, I'm kind of like used to doing things solo because 2014 is January 2014 is where I got my ex at the time. She walked out and said, "Fuck you. I'm in love with someone else. You can eat shit, and you're gonna have to pay me money later on for taxes that you said you were gonna pay for." Didn't really say it like that, but all that kind of in my head happened. But so since then, I've been traveling around by myself. So 2014, I lived by myself in our apartment, which I don't recommend to anybody. In the beginning of 2014, I decided to sell everything and travel, so I did, and then that's where I got used to just being solo. I mean, prior to that, all of 2014 is where I would just like go out to dinner by myself, and I just started to really enjoy that. Like, I was like, well, I'm just gonna go sit at a bar and eat dinner and I don't know, think about stuff, and I really got used to that, and I kind of really like that. So when I was out on the road, I didn't really have any friends anywhere. Like I met people, but it was just totally solo. And when that's the case, you basically just figure out how to hang out with yourself, and that's pretty much what I did. So I really wanted to start traveling around North Carolina this year, about like December, January. I was like, I really want to start taking weekend trips, and I wanted to go to Richmond, want to go to Asheville. Wilmington was definitely on the list, so I can cross that off my bucket list. And I mean, the state has so many cities in it and so much stuff to do that I was like, cool. And then obviously the Rona happened and that kind of shit on my plans, but it seems that a lot of cities don't think it's real or just like don't care. So I obviously traveled with caution. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I need to get away. So I went to Wilmington. I got this cool Airbnb and I drove down there in the Jeep, which surprisingly didn't do too much, didn't do too bad on gas. Did not do too bad on gas. That's it. And drove down there, and that's the first time I've driven to the beach by myself. Well, I mean, I drove down years ago to meet the girl I was dating at the time, but I've never just gone by myself to the beach. And it was cool. I mean, I like the beach. I wouldn't say that it's like my number one fucking thing to do. Like, so when I got to Wilmington, this is like Tuesday. I got to Wilmington, dropped my shit off, and then drove about 30 minutes across the, I don't know what it would be called, to cross Wilmington to Wrightsville Beach. And it's like, I think with other people, they pull up to a beach and it's just like they're super excited for it. And I just pull up and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, the beach is there. And the weird thing about Wrightsville is like when you're driving up the coast or up the road that's parallel to the coast, you can't see the fucking beach. There's like just a hill and then you take the steps over. So the parking lot is just you have this wall in front of you. You can't even see the fucking beach. So I didn't even get to see Wrightsville Beach because I just drove there, I just drove up the coast and drove back down. I was trying to find a place to sit down and like drink something, like have a beer, and it was like $5 for the hour. And I was like, fuck this shit. So I just like drove back in to Wilmington. I don't really know if this is a very exciting story for anybody, but this is just what fucking happened. Um, but it's like it's cool when you do this because you just if you I don't really put a lot of plans into going away or doing anything. Like I don't like having a shit ton of plans anymore because it's just too much like let me turn off this. Okay. Because then it's just like expectations of what it has to be, and I kind of like going to a place that I don't know, and the expectation is that I'm just gonna go to that place and just learn it. So when I got there, I just drove to the beach, was driving back in, stopped at some brewery, was talking to the bartender about like what's there to do, and then went back into Wilmington, got back to my Airbnb, and just like went back out in the streets and just like I knew that when I went out, I just made a right and walked down the street to right into downtown and just figured it out. So I was like, all right, I'll just do that, and then ended up going to some cool places and walking around. And some bars like they didn't give a shit. Like people think this thing is like not real and a fucking joke. And I mean, some bartenders didn't have masks on. I was like, dude, fuck this shit. And but just kind of walked around there, and then I wouldn't really say it was like a full vacation because for 2 days or yeah, Wednesday morning and Thursday, I would get up and I'd go for a run and come back, and like I kind of eased into the day. Like I go for a run around downtown just to kind of see it. Come back, go to this coffee place called Bespoke Coffee. A friend of mine recommended that place, and so I went there. Highly recommend it if you're in Wilmington. The coffee's great. I mean, I'm a cold brew fan, so their cold brew was fantastic. I don't know what their lattes and all that other stuff is like, but I really enjoyed the cold brew. And their merch is fucking awesome. Their design stuff is so cool. Like they have this cool experience, and I've been trying to figure out how to take my animation company, Drive80.com, Drive80.com. I've been trying to make that into experience, and when I go to places like Bespoke, they just have it's like you get the vibe, and it's like when you go to a place and you want to buy the merch, I always think that's really cool. It's like a coffee shop, but I would wear this shit as if I was supporting a band. And then there's some places you go and their merch just you feel like you're a fucking billboard. So it's weird when a company can figure that shit out. It's almost like what I'm trying to do with like all the Daily Bread stuff. Like I always want this to be like I want people to feel like they're a part of something. Like they would wear the merch that I'm selling and not just be, oh, like I just bought this thing. Like there's some connection to whatever this thing is that I'm making just off the cuff. And they're like we're all kind of like a part of it, and I'm trying to figure that all out. But that place was great, and so back to my day, and I'd do that and go back to my this like it was a studio apartment. It was on top of a garage, and it was just my own space. It was disconnected from the house, and it was really cool. And but I would work until about 3 or 4 or 5, and then I'd go back out again. So it's not like I had a full vacation. So I really don't know how to shut off. Like I don't know how to just be idle and not do things. Like I can't just go sit somewhere and not be doing a thing. And I think that's why I do so much crap. It's like I have the comic, I have this podcast, I have other podcasts, I have my animation company that I do for actually getting paid money. But my mind's always trying to create something. Like when I was a kid, I was a big fan of like how do I explain this? Like I think I always wanted to work for myself, but anytime I would see some kind of comic or let's say like girl skateboards. I mean, I was a fan of skateboarding. I was never a good skateboarder, but you see their merch and it's like, oh, I'd want to wear that, but I feel like an idiot wearing it because I'm not a skateboarder and I don't use their products. So shit, I can't wear that. And then there was this guy, Lee Ramsdale. When my band was on tour, he is a pro biker. I think he still is. I follow his Instagram. It's funny because I live in Raleigh and he's from Greenville, and I think he does live in Raleigh. And we were on tour and we happened to bump into him at this bar we were playing at, and he was just this dude drinking in the crowd and was like, "You guys should come hang out with me." So we ended up my band was Lane Meyer, and we were in this tour this band Humble Beginnings, and it was some bar in Greenville, North Carolina, and we went back to his house or his apartment, and we all like crashed on the floor. And the next day, he was like, "Oh, let's go to this bike park," and it was just kind of like a skate park, but everyone was just riding bikes around like BMX and stuff, and it was so fucking cool. But he had his own merch, and he had this character that he drew. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, wow, I kind of feel like I've just kind of randomly stumbled upon this. But he had his own designs, and he had a catalog, and he would sell merch back then, but it was his own brand. And I just thought that was the coolest fucking shit ever. And what actually popped in my mind now is like Obey. But he created something because he would do this graffiti and art all around cities, and that's why you'd want to wear it. And I've always wanted to do that. So like my mind, going back to how I can't shut off, is like my mind is constantly wanting to create visual things and to be able to wear them or draw them and put them on like I don't know, paper. And I fill these books up with stuff. Like I just bought a stack of these little brown books that are about like 30 something pages each, and I'm gonna draw custom books now from the comic. And it's cool because they're just these blank pages, and I could do whatever I want with them. Like I don't have to have 1,000 copies printed of one thing. I can make books on my own. So I was thinking about doing a collection of the comic of previous ones, but then kind of throw in new ones. And then one of them I want to do a dating book, right? It would be like how to see my brain. Like I just can't stop. I can't turn this shit off. This is what I think about when I'm on vacation, which I loved actually. Because I'll just go sit at a bar, or restaurant, or coffee shop or whatever, and just sit at a park, and I just let my brain go, and all this stuff comes up. But the other one was like a dating quiz book. So a couple would get it, and it would ask them questions to see if they're on the same page dating each other, right? And I can just make one book, and then the next one I can have it be so different. So the dating one though, I think would be funny. It would just be like, what's our song? When do we meet? Um, would you be down to get ball gagged? I don't know. Would you want to be pissed on? Just like questions that wouldn't be normal in a normal. I hate that's stupid. The stupid word. Like wouldn't be. It'd kind of throw you off because it's like, oh, cute dating book, but then inside it's like, would you ever want to go to an orgy? Yeah, obviously, these are all sexual. Would you ever, I don't know, want to go travel the world? Would you ever, I can't, like, my brain is thinking of this, but it'd be questions that I think couples should ask themselves, and I don't think that they do. And I think it goes back to even before where I talked about how I became single again and how I travel solo for so long. It's because I didn't have this real communication with the person I was fucking married to them, and we didn't have open communication. And I found out later on a lot of things that was she had not expressed, then she went off and did. And I was like, wow, in hindsight, I guess that does make sense that you were. I'm not gonna say because people know she is, and I don't want this getting back to me. But let's say she went off and kind of found her own journey, I guess, which would actually be, I'm not referencing the Hero's Journey CrossFit that I helped her open, which she and her three partners buried financially, and I'll never see that money back that I gave her. Yeah, so you can go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. But yeah, I think so I think a lot of things that I do tie into my own questions that I would want to know. So it's like I'm scratching that itch. So it'd just be a book about that, or it could be a book where I'm just making up a fucking story. But I just love this. Like I love being able to just create anything I want to. And I think that a lot of people have this want to create things or figure themselves out, which is why I like to travel solo and why I like to, if I am going solo, like I don't go and sit on a beach. I just feel like I could be doing something. But if I go and take my pens with me and a book of blank pages and go sit somewhere, I can just make whatever I want to make and say whatever I want to say. And I think some people are like, oh, I'd want to do that. It's like you can do that. These books cost me like, I don't know, nothing. Um, and you can go online and buy that like a thing of pens. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just went out and bought some. I think they spent like $12 or $15 when I first bought these, and now I'm learning. It's like I think if anything, if you want to learn how to do something, just do the cheapest version of it. Try it out. If you hate it, then you're like, well, I didn't spend any money, and don't go and spend a shit ton of money to figure out you hate something, and then advance from there because then you'll know if you want to buy something else that does up the quality, you'll know what you're looking for instead of just saying, well, this is what I was told. But yeah, so that's what I do with that. And luckily, it kind of worked out. I mean, I bought these pens on a whim just to doodle, and that turned into writing a comic. And now I'm fucking recording a podcast where I'm just aimlessly talking about my life, which is kind of, like I said, every time very cathartic. But I think that people listening, I think a lot of people have reached out to me. They want to do their own thing. And it's like, you don't need to have a business name and a logo and a website to just create something for yourself. It's like you just go out and make it for yourself. Like I'm I can go online and get t-shirts printed on demand and I like make my own shit just so I can wear it myself. I mean, I have a hat that says Raleigh because I didn't see any hats around here that said Raleigh. I was like, I'm gonna go make my own, and now I paid like 20 something bucks for it and it's mine and no one else has the same color. I mean, I have them um, on my website, but I'm the only one who will ever have the full on navy one because that's the I won't sell the other that color to anyone else. So it's like you could do all these things, and that's what I find when I'm just being by myself. But I will say that it would have been cool. It would have been cool to have someone there who is on the same page as me and is like just a total compliment to the things that I do and me to her. Like I would totally love that. And like on the way back, or was it all the way down? Like there's this podcast by this couple, like Matt and Kim. They're a band, and I found out a while ago that they do this podcast where they just like have people ask them questions about their relationship or just questions, and I think they just ask each other, and that's the whole podcast. But it's them as a couple answering questions, and I was like, this is so fucking awesome. And who knows, man? I mean, I think they've been together for 10 years, 15 years? I don't know. I think it's a long time. But they're in a fucking band together. They tour together. They make music together. And they are living together and dating. And they sound like they have like the best time. Sure, you're getting like the A sides, my buddy Tom likes to say, and not the B sides. But that seems to me kind of the dream. That seems so fucking cool. And being down on the beach is like, yeah, I like my alone time, but I think if you're with the right person, it can feel as if you are having your alone time, but with that person. So it's like you kind of are this single unit where it's like the two of you are having your own time together, where it's your own world. Where like me, if I'm out by myself, I am in my own bubble. But if you're with the right person, it's the two of you, and that's that singular bubble that are going around town and witnessing things, but you get to experience them together and like learn about each other. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm back um, open to again, right? Like I was really closed off to that, but I think just these little things I've been doing this year have opened up my mind to that. Um, but yeah, so vacation was good. And I did end up going to the beach on Sunday. I went to visit my friends Tom and Tara and their place down in Sunset Beach, and we hung out. It was a blast, and we I ended up smoking a lot of weed, and I've never had sativa, stevia. No, that's the sugar. Sativa. That shit's really good if you are looking to smoke the grass. It was made you very aware. Didn't like give you that tunnel vision shit that I usually hate. And one of the days we went on the beach, and I got the worst sunburn on my stomach. Super blotchy. I thought I had sprayed myself with suntan spray, and apparently I didn't do a good job. So my stomach looks really weird and red and blotchy, and it'll eventually quote unquote tan on this Irish pale skin that I have. So I got the beach thing in, and there was a wedding that happened right in front of us, which we didn't know. It was just this guy was there and this officiant and this other guy, and then all of a sudden the bride walked down in just this summer dress, and their family was around, and again, nobody, nobody, like no one can give a fuck about social distancing down in south of the southern part of North Carolina or the all part of South Carolina. But it was cool to witness that, and then I came home yesterday, and today I felt like hell because I ate and drank like shit for a very long time. So who knows? I think my next vacation I'd like to go to the mountains. I might go to like Boone. I think I'd really like to get a cabin and go up there. So, but yeah, that's it. I don't know. I guess I'll. If you like the comic, and I don't know if you know this, but I started a Patreon. It's for $1 a month just to help. For $3, it's to have access to my um, close friends thing on Instagram, and the more people I get, I'll be sending out like discounts for merch. And then I have $1,000 option. It really jumps, and you can get a full book custom of you could just choose whatever comics you want, and I can even add stuff in about you. And I even put on there that I would write a song and I would animate it with my character about you. So if that's the thing you want to do, then that's available. And if not, I'm also going to do these custom books. I'll start promoting them on my Instagram. It's pretty much where I live. That's where the whole comic is. It's on Your Daily Bread, BRED. But I'm guessing if you're listening to this podcast, then you know about the Instagram account. But I'm guessing some people might just find the podcast. So there's that, and so I don't know. Well, that's what's going on. I got some new mugs up, and if you're ever on Instagram and you're doing stories and you want to add my Daily Bread character, you just look up in the gifts section, just put in Daily Bread or Your Daily Bread, and all the gifts will pop up, like the stabby one and the humpy one and the coffee sipping one, and what else I got? I got the new ones with the guy gets sucked in the iPhone. It's like he wants to be where you are. And that's it. So, yeah. If you have any questions, you can message me on Instagram. Go be happy.